we have two rectangles, very original, labeled A and B. Maybe they're, I don't know, plot of land, you're building a new house, maybe patch of garden, maybe it's a section on your desk that you need to clean, who knows. But we're given that the perimeter of A is 46 centimeters, the perimeter of B is 32 centimeters, and we're asked to find the length and the width of the rectangles. So notice the lengths and the widths currently are expressed in terms of P and Q. So these are some unknowns, some variables. We're going to want to find out those variables and then solve for the side lengths. In other words, the dimensions. So focusing on rectangle A, we could write an equation for the perimeter because we know it's equal to 46. And we know the perimeter is the sum of all the sides. So that's 3Q plus 7P plus another 3Q plus another 7P. So 3Q plus 7P plus 3Q plus 7P is equal to 46. Right, and just because they didn't write 3Q up here, doesn't mean it's not 3Q, because we're told it's a rectangle. So this side must be the same as that, and this side must be the same as that. Right, and if we just combine this, the 3Qs, we get 6Q, and 7P plus 7P is 14P. So let's just write that in one step here. And now I didn't put those in alphabetical order, but who cares? Not me. It's still maths. So that's one equation. We can do something similar for B. So I'll do the Q's first. So there's 4 Q's for the perimeter. And then there's 10P. And that'll equal 32. So what we've done is we've set up what's called a simultaneous equation. Simultaneous meaning we solve it at the same time. And that's because we have two equations and two unknowns. So to solve this one, we can add or subtract the equations from each other to eliminate one of the variables. So if, for example, we had 2x, this is just a side note, 2x plus y equals 4, and then 2x minus 3y equals 6. I see that the two x's have the same coefficient, so I could subtract these equations and would be left with 2x minus 2x is 0, y minus negative 3y is plus 4y, 4 minus 6 is negative 2, and then we can solve this equation, which is much simpler. But looking back at our problem, we don't have two variables that line up like that, right? We have 6Q and 4Q, so that doesn't line up. We have 14P and 10P. They're also not the same. So before we can subtract one equation from the other, we need to multiply the equations. Not with each other, but just by some constant. So if we multiplied the first equation by 2, so we'll do 1 times 2, that gives us 12Q plus 28P equals 92. So I just multiplied every term by 2. And what do you think I should multiply the second one by in order to have a matching term? Have a think. So if we multiply 4Q by 3, it will become 12Q, which would match with this first equation. So we'll times it by 3, which gives us 12Q plus 30P equals 96. So all as we've done here is we've written two equations for the perimeter of A and B in terms of P and Q. We've then multiplied them in order to get two of the variables to have the same coefficients. In this case, 12q in both of them. We can now subtract these equations. So we'll do equation 1 minus equation 2, which gives us, I'll just write it out in full, 12q plus 28p. And then from that, we are minusing 12q plus 30p. And on the right-hand side, it's 92 minus 96. All right, if you'd rather do it vertically, so that's one way of writing it out. Put that down there. Another way is 12, just doing it from this. So 12q minus 12q is 0q. 28p minus 30p is minus 2p. 92 minus 96 is minus 4. And so we're left with minus 2p equals minus 4. So p must equal minus 4 divided by minus 2, which is positive 2. So again, we've found two equations. We've then eliminated one variable by subtracting the equations, which let us solve for p. And now we can then insert p as equal to 2 back up into, let's say, this first equation. And then we can solve for q. So let's do that. So 6q plus 14p, well, we said p was 2, is equal to 46. So 6q plus 28 equals 46. So 6q, we'll subtract 28 from both sides. What is that? 18? Yep. And so finally, dividing both sides by 6, q equals 18 divided by 6, which is 3. Whew. That one was a bit tough. Simultaneous can take a while. I would encourage you, when you get your two equations, before you try eliminate a variable, try think which has the lowest common factor. So in this case, we went for 12q because that was 2 times the first equation and 3 times the second. If you looked at p, however, we would have had to times it by, the first one by 10 and the second one by 14. And then that gets a little bit hard to do without a calculator. So if you get stuck on this step, try look at the other variable to see if it's any simpler. Hello again, this is me from the future, just realizing I didn't answer the question. So learn from me, answer the question fully. Where did we leave off? We found the values of p and q by using simultaneous equations, but I didn't read the rest of the question. It happens. So the question is, find the length and the width of the rectangles. So we found this unknown constant p and the unknown constant q. So all we need to do is translate that to the dimensions of the rectangles. So what do we have? We have p, we found out was equal to 2. So when we see a p on a dimension, we can substitute in 2. So 7 times p was 7 times 2, so that is 14. On rectangle B, 5 times p, 5 times 2, so that is 10. And whenever we see a q, we got 3 for q. So on rectangle A, 3 times 3 is 9. Rectangle B, 2 times q is 6. So our dimensions, so let's write this out properly. Running out of space though. Ooh. Dimensions are, so for rectangle A, they are 9 by 14. Do we have any units? Perimeter is 46 centimeters. Yep, so this will be in centimeters. 9 centimeters by 14 centimeters. Rectangle B is 6 centimeters by 10 centimeters. Awesome. So that would be our final answer there. And when we get to this stage, we can double check, because remember we were given the perimeter. So for rectangle B, for example, it's 32 centimeters, which makes sense, right? 10 plus 10 plus 6 plus 6 adds up to 32. And we can also check for rectangle A. Okay, now we're done.